Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Sonia and I'm a school bus driver trainer. I teach people to go for their Class B CDL, passenger, school bus, and Airbrakes endorsement. In 2023, New Jersey changed the test. So obviously we're located in New Jersey. There haven't been really any materials to help people kind of guide them along the process, so I decided to make my own video for you guys. All right, you will get from your trainer, whoever your trainer is, you'll most likely get a copy of like just a step-by-step just to go through the process. So keep that with you, follow along until you don't need the paper anymore. All right, and I'm going to use it just so that I can stay on track and I don't miss anything. Walk you through the pre-trip for the school bus driver test. So you're going to turn your bus on. Okay, so I always recommend people to start with their service brake test. You want to have your seatbelt on if your bus is in gear. So you put your bus in drive, parking brake is still engaged, and you're just going to apply slight pressure to the gas pedal to make sure that the bus is not moving. Then after that, you're going to push in the brake pedal, the emergency brake, and then you're going to bring the bus forward about 5 miles an hour and not slam the brakes, but you want to hit the brakes to make sure that the service brakes work properly. So my service brakes are working properly. The bus didn't pull left or right. Now I'm going to run you through the air brake test itself. So you want to have a cell phone with you, or not a cell phone, you want to have a watch with you to watch the minute. If your bus does not have park as a gear, you're going to use chocks to chalk the wheels. I advise my trainees to put the bus in park for the test. Do that now so that I don't forget. Okay, so you do want to say at some point these tests are to be sure any safety devices operates correctly as air pressure drops from normal to low air conditions. Loss of pressure will cause the emergency brake to activate, causing an abrupt and uncontrolled stop. You do have to include that statement. So we're going to turn the bus to run. We're going to push in the parking brake. After the initial loss of pressure, we're going to start our 1 minute time. This is where you need your watch.
You're pressing hard on the brake at this moment, right?
Yes. You don't have to press incredibly hard. You just don't want the bus to roll. Okay, after that minute, you're going to begin fanning down your brakes to make sure that all the safety devices are working properly. So we're going to begin fanning down. My low air warning came on at 60 psi. And my parking brake engaged at 30 psi. Now, I did forget to include when you're holding for that 1 minute, you need to state that you're also watching for no more than 3 psi loss in that 1 minute. So while your air tank is refilling after your air brake test, that's when you start everything else. So everyone's different the way they process information. Some people like to do everything top to bottom, left and right. The way my brain does it is I like to break everything up into sections. So I check my left turn signal, my right turn signal, my four-way flashers, my headlights, and also my clearance lights are operating properly. My high beams are operating properly. I can see my dash indicators, and I can also see my rear lights by my external light monitor. And you can check your brake lights here. So you can see your brake lights and your tail lights are also working. Your driver here to have your master switch on. You tap the amber warn lights. Your amber school bus lights are operating properly. My red school bus lights are operating properly. My door opens and closes securely. My crossing arm and stop arm came out properly and came back in. My student mirrors are properly adjusted and mounted securely. My traffic mirrors are adjusted properly and mounted securely. My windshield is not obstructed with no illegal stickers. My interior student mirror is also mounted securely and adjusted properly. And my windshield wipers are also mounted securely. Washer fluid is working appropriately. And they take a while to shut off. Alright, now I also have over here my first aid kit is sealed, not opened, and it contains all items, not missing any items. My body fluid cleanup kit is also present, not missing any items. My fire extinguisher is properly charged, and I think they took out the date. Properly charged and secured. We do not carry spare electrical fuses, and I have three red reflective triangles and 3 flares. My horn also works properly. My entry door is not damaged, operates smoothly, and closes securely. Handrails are clear. The step light is working. Entry steps are clear, and the tread is not loose or worn. All mirrors and cameras are all mirrors and mirror brackets are not bent and are mounted securely with no missing parts. All mirrors are adjusted properly. Cameras are clean and viewable from the inside. After you do the front part, you're gonna first, before you do anything else, you take the key out, put it in your pocket, and you come back, press this childminder, and you have to say during the test, this is a device to make sure that there are no children left on board the bus unattended. So after that, you'll go back up, put the key back in the ignition, and then we'll go over the rest of the interior. After you press your childminder and you ensure that you took a moment to make sure that you checked everything in the front, you're going to put your key in the ignition and turn it to run. And now we'll check the emergency exits and the seats. So you want to make sure that your frame is mounted to the floor. Your seat cushions are mounted to the frame. Nothing's broken. Everything's mounted securely. And I would check all the seats the same way. So moving on to the roof hatches, the directions are always labeled. I recommend pushing it up before you try to pop it out. So you're going to turn it from latched to exit, press the knob to pop it out. And I'm short, so I have to get up here. Now you want to line it up into the guides. Sorry. Of course, this isn't cooperating. There we go. And then you want to have both sides clicked in. And this is why you'll notice that your trainer actually doesn't have you do this every time you meet up, because these tiny little plastic pieces do break. So you will do that for both roof hatches. You'll just go through the process. So as your testing date approaches, your trainer will have you make sure that you're efficient in that, but you most likely won't be doing that every time you meet with your trainer. So you also check the emergency exits on the side. You're going to push it out, bring it back in, and what you're doing is you're checking to make sure that the alarms are also working properly, and we'll check this one too. It opens and closes smoothly, and it latches securely. So I'm going to try to take you through this one just so we have another one. So you're going to turn it from latch to exit, push the knob, then you're going to line it up inside the bracket. And bring it down on both sides, and then turn it back to latched. And that's how you do your roof hatches. So the number one exit that you always want to make sure that you check is your rear door emergency exit. You do want to make sure that alarm works at all times. And I would say that's one of the most important parts of your pre-trip. So this concludes the interior pre-trip for New Jersey school bus driver test. And after you're done with everything inside, take a couple of minutes to make sure that you got everything. Just kind of scan everything. Then when you're done, you'll turn the key to off, put the key in your pocket, and you'll explain that this is also an emergency exit. You press it to emergency release, and then you exit the vehicle. Hi, welcome back. Now we're going to go over the external pre-trip for the New Jersey 2023 school bus driver test. All right, so my clearance lights are amber in color, clean and not broken. My school bus lettering and reflective tape is present. It's not peeling or ripped or frayed. My school bus lights are red, clean and not broken. My amber school bus lights are amber, clean and not broken.
Now you're not just looking at this, but you're saying all of this to the inspector as you're going through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. My traffic mirrors are mounted on the side securely. And they're adjusted properly. My crossover mirrors are also mounted securely. My headlights, also my high beams, are clean, clear, and not broken. My turn signal, also my four-way flashers, are clean, amber, and not broken. My crossing arm is mounted securely, and I have no leaks under the bus, and the bus is not leaning left or right. One quick note to add: when you finish your interior pre-trip, you want to make sure that you turn your wheels all the way left, so that way when you're doing your exterior pre-trip, you want to make sure that you can see the actual parts of the brakes inside. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to pop the hood open, and we're going to go through under the hood. So you want to check your oil level. Explain to the examiner, you pull it out, wipe it, put it back in, and then pull it out to check the level, and then you just put it right back in. For the test, you're not expected to actually do that, just explain it. You don't want to actually touch anything under the hood. Your coolant level, which is over there, is at the proper level above refill. Now your examiner may have you go to the other side to check it. Just make sure that you check it. If you feel better starting from the other side, that's fine, but you don't really have to be on that side. You can do everything from one spot. Your power steering fluid is at the proper level above the refill mark. No leaks or damage to the hoses. All hoses and wires are mounted securely and not leaking. Your steering box is securely mounted and not leaking. Hoses and connections are not cracked, worn, or leaking. No missing nuts, bolts, or cotter keys. All other visible connecting links, arms, and rods from the steering box to the wheel are not worn or cracked, and the joints and sockets are not worn or loose. Your tires should be proper inflation. Explain to the examiner how you would use a tire gauge. Valve stems and caps are visible, accessible, not missing, damaged, or broken. Your tire is free of cuts, bumps, bulges, other damage in the sidewall. No mismatched diameters in dual tires, which would be in the rear. Now your tread depth on the front tire should be 4/32. Explain to the examiner that if you had a tread depth gauge, you would use that to check the depth. But there's also, if you can make it out, there's a small marker right in there, and that shows your tread depth. So as you're doing your pre-trip, if you just feel along, and even people with like a larger pinky can just go through there, as long as you see, you know, when the tread becomes very low, you can see that. So there's your tread depth for that. Your rims are not damaged, cracked, or bent. There's no welding repairs. Studs and bolt holes are not missing, elongated, or cracked. No missing or loose nuts. Lug nuts are present, not loose. No rust trails or shiny threads, and no broken studs. All right, leaf springs are not missing, shifted, cracked, or broken. No broken, loose, or missing bolts or U-bolts. The U-bolts are those things right in the middle there. Spring mounts are not cracked, broken, or missing any parts. Your shock absorber is secured, not damaged, and not leaking. Air hoses and lines can supply air to the brakes and are not leaking. Your lines and hoses are not cracked, worn, or frayed. All couplings and fittings are secure. When it's juicy like that, it's okay, but you don't want it to be actively leaking. There doesn't appear to be any contaminants such as grease, oil, or debris in the brake linings that can affect braking capabilities. I'm going to go down the side of the bus. Your DEF door opens and closes securely, and the cap is not leaking and is properly mounted. The passenger door opens and closes smoothly, and I don't hear any air leaking. My courtesy light is clean, clear, and not broken. My turn signal, also my four-way, is clean, amber, and not broken. I have reflective tape throughout the bus. My reflectors are properly mounted, not cracked, and amber in color. Looking at looking from underneath the bus, I can see my frame is not cracked or bent and not damaged. Starting with the rear tires, we're going to check for proper inflation. Explain how you would use a tire gauge. Your valve stems are present, accessible, not missing, damaged, or broken. Your tires themselves are free of cuts, bumps, bulges, and other damage in the sidewall. There are no mismatched diameters in dual tires. Your tread depth minimum in the rear should be no less than 2/32 of an inch, and we can't get to those tread depth markers because this is a brand new tire. But you would explain to the examiner that you would use a tread depth gauge to check that. Your rims are not damaged, cracked, or bent. No welding repairs. The studs and bolt holes are not missing, elongated, or cracked. There's no missing or loose nuts. Your lug nuts are present, not loose, no rust trails or shiny threads, and there's no broken studs. You can also see your leaf spring mounts somewhere in there. Your leaf springs are not missing, shifted, cracked, or broken. No broken, loose, or missing bolts or U-bolts. Your spring mounts are not cracked, broken, or missing any parts. Shock absorbers are secure, not damaged, and not leaking. And you have to, even though you can't see your brakes on the rear, you do have to explain that your air hoses and lines are not leaking. They're properly mounted. Lines and hoses are not cracked, worn, or frayed. All couplings and fittings are secure. I also want to mention that there doesn't appear to be any contaminants such as grease, oil, or debris on the brake linings that can affect braking capabilities. Moving on, we will check our fuel tank. Opens and closes smoothly. The cap is mounted properly. Tank is mounted securely to the bus, and there are no leaks from the tanks or lines. I also have one red reflector and another turn signal, also my four-way flashers. And when you get to the rear of the bus, similar to the front, my red school bus lights are red, clean, and not broken. My amber school bus lights are amber, clean, and not broken. My clearance lights are red in the rear, always amber in the front, clean and not broken. My school bus lettering and reflective tape is present and not ripped or frayed. My turn signals, also my four-way flashers, are amber in color, not cracked or damaged. My brake lights and also my tail lights are red, clean, and not broken. My reverse lights, which are also my alarm lights, are operating properly, and they're clear and not cracked or broken. When you get to this side of the bus, you can take this opportunity to process and think if you forgot anything during the test. You would say, I would check this side of the bus the same way as the other, except I would check my school bus sign. I have 4 lights. They're red and red, clean, and not broken. And then I would also check my battery. Which is locked, but your batteries are secure. All connections are tight. Cell caps are present. No signs of excessive corrosion. All electrical system cables and lines are secure and not cracked or worn. And your battery box and door is secure.